which Jim obviously took on no problem, right? And in handling sales acclimation, getting acclimated towards these canvassing leads, it really does require a little bit of finesse. All right, just like we said before, the thing about the canvassing lead that we love is that there's no competition in the door. The thing that we find to be a challenge is because we pulled someone in the market prematurely, sometimes we can get resistance on these types of leads. Sometimes we can get the cold shoulder and things along those lines. So I have called upon whom I feel is the most qualified person I have come across in all my travels to speak to you about how to handle these types of nebulous leads. You know, there's a lot of great salespeople I have met throughout my career and feel very fortunate to have met all these wonderful salespeople. This particular individual that we're going to bring up here for you really talks the talk. He's active and relevant today. He was running appointments last night. All right, he closes at a high level. He demonstrates at a high level. His numbers are phenomenal. And they're not just talk about numbers. I get to pull up his market sharp reports and look at them firsthand. And I'm just blown away at every category, how he performs at an extremely high level. His name is John Anglis. These are some of the statistics that he's put up. Now, John runs a business. He's a business owner, so he doesn't run as many leads as maybe the top salesperson at your organization might run. But nevertheless, you know, his opportunity rate is about 80%. All right, on issued leads, he closes at almost 60%, and on demonstrations, and almost 50% on issued appointments. He wrote $885,000 in net business part-time last year when he wasn't running his business, and only had 2 cancellations, and he was able to save them himself. So 93.5% retention rate and a net sale to lead issue rate of $4,900. Every time you give this guy a lead, he gives you $5,000 back. How about that? Yeah, pretty good, huh? So I really want to call upon him to speak to you folks because, look, let's face it, you guys came here to hear from the experts. I've run, you know, hundreds and hundreds of leads, maybe thousands in my lifetime. I'm okay, but I don't hold a candle to John. So I wanted to bring him up here and have him talk to you about how he handles these types of leads, whether they be service tragic leads that he has no problem converting, or whether they be canvas leads. I mean, he finds a way to get in the door, disarm these people, and create opportunities for himself. So please give a warm round of applause to John Anglis.
All right, I'd like to thank Tony for inviting me out here, and thank you guys for coming. Sales is kind of my passion, running leads. I met Tony at a seminar back in 2008. I got my start in this industry running telemarketing appointments. So, I mean, I got grounded in nebulous appointments, and then through Tony we learned about canvassing and stuff like that. One book I recommend you read, which I learned about this book at this particular seminar, was Who Moved My Cheese. And the reason I like it is it talks about 2 mice sniff and scratch. It talks about 2 little people, hem and haw, who go through a maze looking for cheese. And they find cheese station C, where there's just a ridiculous amount of cheese. Every day they go to cheese station C, they get their fill, they go home, they go do the same thing. Well, one day when they go to cheese station C, they find out there's no cheese. Well, the 2 mice, sniff and scratch, figured out, well, we kind of figured this was coming anyway. So they already had the wheels in motion to go through the maze and find other cheese. Hem and haw, they were just going back to the same cheese station every day and complaining when they started to get hungry. No cheese again? No cheese today? They start blaming each other, they start blaming the circumstances, they start blaming the world. Meanwhile, they're not eating cheese, they're getting hungry. So what I like about that is it basically gives you a nice example of what Tony's talking about and how to handle a nebulous type of lead. Now, one thing I would say is when you change what you believe, you change what you do. If you're running appointments and you have a negative thought about them, or oh, I got to run another one of those appointments, oh, I got to, what you put in your head is what you get out. You get the physical equivalent. So if you're, you get to the house, you're looking for reasons. If you happen not to sell the last 3 blue-sided houses I went to, I didn't sell windows. Another blue house, and everything you do as a result of that is going to show up with that homeowner. So one thing I want to invite everybody to do as well is let go of old cheese. There are still, as Tony mentioned, lead takers. There's still sources out there. There's, your home shows where you're one out of 100 window guys or siding guys or whatever it is. But I hired a sales manager who was thought highly of in the early 2000s. And when he came to work for my company for a month, all I heard was the good old days of 2004. All I heard was, back in the day, I got this many people come in and we closed this much bit. And I'm thinking, yeah, but what'd you do today? So the quicker you let go of old cheese, the sooner you're going to find new cheese. And again, with these nebulous appointments, what if it doesn't work out? What if I drive out there? What if it does? What if you drive out and follow the system, put the blinders on, take it step by step, and it does work out? It's amazing not only how much cheese is out there, but all the different flavors, nacho cheese, jack cheese, all cheese you never even thought you might enjoy more than the regular cheese that you've been eating. And if you do that, you prevent yourself from eating government cheese. So,
and you know what you'll be saying? Bunch of losers sitting around in the bar. Oh yeah, I used to be a salesman. It's a tough racket. These are the new leads. They're for closers.
And that's true. These are the new leads, and they are for closers. A closer is a person who finds a way to make sales happen. And it starts with what's between your ears. Now, in order for you to make this happen, you have to exercise patience. Okay? If you look at, I have an online dictionary app on my iPad, and basically, patience, the quality of being patient is a variable provocation, annoyance, misfortune, or pain without complaint or loss of temper, irritation, etc. Learning something new sucks. I understand that. I had a computer laptop at one point, and just when I learned PowerPoint, bang, iPads come out. Oh, then iPad too. It's not always fun to learn, but it's necessary. And the more patient you are, the better the experience is going to be, the more you're going to get out of what we're trying to get out of. Now, how do you improve conversions? The conversions are important. We all know that this is a numbers game. And I know that if I give a certain amount of appointments, I'm going to get a certain amount of the responses, both positive and negative, that are out in this business. So how you're going to improve conversions is you got to take baby steps. Again, you cannot go to a telemarketing cold call appointment or maybe a lead that was generated at the chili cook-off the same way you would handle somebody that called you up. As Tony said, they're ready to buy. They made a decision to do business. Those are great leads. You know they're going to buy. You've got a great personality. You bond with your client. You earn their trust. You have a pretty good shot at closing the order. The problem initially with nebulous type leads is homeowners don't always know what they don't know. So as far as the conversions, you've got to take baby steps to the training process. Do not take the lead, canvas, telemarketing, whatever, the shows that aren't home shows, and figure I'll just wing it, I'll do it on the fly. It doesn't work that way. Okay, one of the biggest reasons I think my numbers show what they show is I treat this like a profession. I don't treat this like a purgatory until I can get a job with a salary. This is a profession, and I approach it like a professional to make sure that I'm not practicing at the kitchen table. Okay? And with that, this is a little example of how baby steps works.
You can help me. I feel like I could be somebody. Baby steps?
It means setting small, reasonable goals for yourself, one day at a time. One tiny step at a time.
Baby steps.
For instance, when you leave this office, don't think about everything you have to do in order to get out of the building. Just think of what you must do to get out of this room. And when you get to the hall, deal with that hall, and so on. You see?
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
Oh boy. Baby steps. Baby steps.
Baby steps through the office. Baby steps out the door. It works. It works.
It really does work. You follow the system. Baby step number one, when you get to the door, get in the door. Too many times when we get to the door, we start sizing our prospect up, thinking to the end, thinking, well, geez, I'm not sure if this guy's going to buy. I'm not sure. I mean, he told me that his transmission just blew. He's got a kid. You can't think that far ahead. You've got to take baby steps. Baby steps. Get in the door. Now, resistance that we get is often upon entry. It is my experience that the reason they're giving resistance has nothing to do with you at all, as much as they don't always trust themselves. Okay, if you're on a diet and your friend says, let's go out, let's go to a restaurant, let's go eat. I'm not going over there because you know you don't trust yourself not to fall off the wagon. That you're not going to have a slice of cake, that you're not going to have that pasta or whatever it is, the lasagna. So that's why we're afraid. Oftentimes when you get to the door, if they know that they don't trust themselves, and as a result, that's where some of that resistance is. That's one of my main motivations to persist, because oftentimes I find that, okay? Now, as far as preparing for the cold shoulder, there's only a few responses we're going to get. You know, I told the guy at the door, I don't have the money. I said that. Whatever your reasons may be, whatever those reasons may be, they're usually at the door. They're easily overcome because you know exactly what they're going to say before you get out there. Now, one analogy I'd like to draw with canvassing and even telemarketing. Oftentimes, canvassers, whether it's a high school student or it's a college student or whoever's doing it, oftentimes, especially if they don't have experience, they're not necessarily trained as well as, let's say, a sales professional who's going out to visit, who's going to be in the house for a while. Oftentimes, you got people knocking on the door, engaging in conversations with people. One of the biggest reasons I love Canvas telemarketing leads is I look at that as my infantry. They're the ground troops. They're going out knocking on doors, and all the door slams from unreasonable people, they're taking the abuse for you. Right? So when you knock on the door and they say, no, the kind of people I'm saying where you go, how many fingers am I holding up? 5, right? No, it's 4 fingers and a thumb. Those are the people that oftentimes at the house, whatever you do, you're not going to have as good a shot to close them. But those are the people that are being eliminated by your infantry group. Now, here's how I look at it. I have a mixture of canvassers at my company. I have some grown-ups. I have some teenagers. But here's how I look at it. If somebody that's not as well trained as I am can get a home and I go, I didn't think about it that way. Yeah, sure, come give me a price. What do you think I can do when I get in the door? I've read the Zig Ziglars. I've read the Stephen Coveys. I've been in the business for a very long time. If you can get me in the house, oh my God, what can I do once I get in? So when I get that type of resistance at the door, it really doesn't mean much to me. It means to me that you've already proven that if somebody makes a reasonable argument, you're going to pretty much roll over and make a decision. You allow me in the house, so chances are you're going to allow me to replace your windows, put your radiant barrier in, what have you. Okay? Now, one of the biggest reasons we get resistance at the door is because this is who they're expecting. Okay, now I'm sure we can all agree, we've all bought cars, we've all bought furniture, we've all bought homes, the real estate agent that doesn't follow up, that you got to chase. The bottom line, in my opinion, salespeople by and large, overall, are really not that good. Okay, and when you Google salesmen, these are the top 3 images that come up for salespeople. This is who they're expecting at the door, and that's why that resistance is there. How many times I've done a presentation getting through that initial barrier, and this is a true story. My son canvassed for a home, and the woman fought him for 10 minutes at the door, and he's charming, chip off the old block, and gets me in the door. When I get out, resistance. I don't have money, I'm retired, my husband passed away. Long story short, about, I think, 35 minutes in, she tells me she got a blight letter from the city that we were in, and that she was going to have to start thinking about it anyway, so it's God's will that you actually showed up. Here's a person who wanted it, but gave me resistance anyway. Why? Because she expected that guy to show up at the door. So if you want to improve your conversions, and if you want to make a dent, you have to be the opposite of what they expect you to be when you get to the door.
George, that woman just looked at you.
So what am I supposed to do?
Don't talk to her.
They're laying bald men
trying the opposite. Instead of tuna salad and being intimidated by women, chicken salad and going right up to them.
Yeah, I should do the opposite. I should. Yes. I will do the opposite. Excuse me, I couldn't help but notice that you were looking in my direction.
Oh, yes, I was. You just ordered the same exact lunch as me.
My name is George. I'm unemployed and I live with my parents.
I'm Victoria. Hi.
Now, you guys see the point there. Homeowners who have broken transmissions, kids in college, a house that, bushes, shrubs that are old, don't buy home improvements. Well, you know what? George closed the deal. Why can't you? Right? Now, one of the things we talked about before is we talked about having the right mindset. Okay? You have to have the right mindset. Now, I want to take this time to speak to the people in the office who do the confirming, who do the issuing, who do the follow-ups. Okay? We got to stop alienating homeowners with bad verbiage. Oftentimes, obviously, we put a nice face on when we're calling people, but how you feel about somebody reflects how you speak to them and the actions that you take. Okay? Now, no home, stuff like that. Oh, another no home. You got to understand and empathize a bit. These are people that don't know what they don't know. Number one, they were able to go from a no to sure, come out and give me an estimate. Because there's only so much information our canvassers can give at the door or in the booth or wherever we happen to be. So what happens is when I get a no home, and I go on no homes like, I'm on them. Because they don't know what they don't know. And I know oftentimes they're afraid of that guy that they think is going to show up. And I'm not that guy. And I know I'm not that guy. So my marketing staff stays on and resets these no homes to make sure that we have an opportunity. Here's why. A lot of us in this business don't. Now, a lot of times you got to look at a homeowner when they build a force field. If you had a castle and you put a moat around your castle and you had alligators, you had snipers, you had all of that, there's no reason to learn kung fu, have a gun, or anything, because who's going to get past that? Well, when someone finally does get past all of that and you're confronted, you kind of don't know what to do. That's why I really like the initial crusty kind of behavior, because most guys get scared away. This guy doesn't. And then you get a little further than the average person does, and you get a chance to show what you are, what their problems are, and they warm up almost immediately. Okay? The other thing that we have to stop doing is referring, one-legs. Oh, it's a one-legger, another one-legger. When you feel that way and you walk to the home and you find out that it's a one-legger and that's your initial thought, then that thought affects your actions. Now, one thing that I find funny is, I don't know how many salespeople are in the audience, but oftentimes if I'm doing a sales seminar training class, I will ask how many of us will walk into a house and go, probably about 10 grand. I mean, how many people would actually do that without earning the right to ask for the order? And I'm sure even if you're not in sales, we're all aware that you shouldn't do that. Well, question, why as salespeople then do we go in and go, one-legger? I've got to come out when you have more time and can have your wife. People guard their time as much, if not more, than they guard their money. So when you ask for another appointment, or when someone says, you got about an hour because I've got a doctor's appointment that I have to go to, my first thought is, 7 o'clock at night? Because I know that that's not real. But the point that I'm making is that if you go to a homeowner's home and you ask for more time before you've earned the right, they'll make the appointment to get rid of you. Oh yeah, 6 o'clock, oh absolutely. And they'll never answer the phone to even have it be confirmed. Now your phone operating, or your marketing room is going to be on the phone forever with that group that you created that won't go anywhere, which slows down your schedule. It's a nightmare. So what we've got to do is we've got to change our terminology. I don't call them one-leggers, I call them two-steppers. And what I realize is that there's only one way to get somebody to do what you want them to do, and that's to make them want to do it. Secrets of my selling, my numbers, whatever. They want to do business with me. How hard is it to sell something if they want it? How hard is it to make an appointment with somebody if they want it? Now, what I'll do oftentimes when I go to the home, first off, if it's 6 o'clock at night and I see bikes in the front yard and toys and a playhouse in the backyard and the wife's not there, I know it's a work night, it's a school night, I don't see any kids anywhere. I bet you that she just took off to get some ice cream so that a half an hour later she'll come back and I'll be gone and she had avoided it. Now, when I'm in the house, is when I get that open, hi, they thought I was gone, I'm able to bring them in. I'm able to show her what she was missing. I've closed so many appointments. True story. One of my friends who has a home improvement company in Massachusetts worked for me as a sales manager in 2008. And we had an add-on. He went out as an add-on to the order. And he come back upset. I go, what happened? He goes, I ran that lead when I worked for wherever the company was. What happened? It was a one-legger, so I said I had to come back later. Well, guess what? When this guy showed up and it was a one-legger, he followed the necessary steps and he closed the $32,000 order. So that's how I got the deal and he didn't get the order. So we really have to change that. Now, how many Zig Ziglar fans in here? You all heard Zig Ziglar? Here's one story that makes a lot of sense. He tells a story in one of the CDs I was listening to the other day. Another thing I learned from Tony is I read in the car a lot. And he was talking about how he got a computer to help my company bill our customers. And he goes, that little computer was supposed to make my life easy. But it was double billing, triple billing, not billing, and my customers were getting angry. So I told my staff, you got to sell that there computer. So all of a sudden a couple guys come in, and he says, I can make that computer sing. And I just said, well, if you can make it work, that's all I would want you to do. So when they come in and they fix the computer, it starts billing on time. And he's like, hold on, how did you get my computer to do that? And the guy simply said, all I did was change the input. If you change the input, you change the output. So that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Market Sharp. I have Market Sharp. I love it. If you don't have it, I recommend it because it's easy to track your numbers, to know where you are. You don't make emotional decisions with respect to who needs a meeting and who needs to be let go. The numbers are right there. Bad personality, bad information, you let a profitable sales rep go. When you look at the numbers, you take all that emotion out of there. But the bottom line is, and I'm sure they would even agree, if you don't put the numbers in right, you're not going to get the right numbers. So you've got to make sure you program your brains accordingly. Now, as a result of that, I do not alienate my clients. I rather cultivate. If I'm in a one-legger situation, okay? If I'm in a one-legger situation, what I do is I'll walk around the home. Obviously, I'll let them know who I am. I'll ask some questions to kind of see what their needs might be, what the problems might be, walking around the house. And I'm going to ask, if it's him, not her, I'm going to ask him questions that I know his wife is going to have to answer. So, what color were you thinking about? Oh, that's my what? Oh, okay. Well, what do you think about the gables here? If it was siding, I said, you think maybe half rounds, or maybe I can see the trim here and the trim. Whoa, my wife and okay. Well, when I ask strategic questions that I know the husband or the wife need to be there to answer, and I have a good rapport and I've earned their trust because I spent some time with them instead of treating them like a one-legger. It's amazing how many appointments I get to go back. I have another story that I went to a home for gutter protection. And when I went out there, the son and the daughter lived there, but I found out through talking to them, the father owned the house. So in that respect, it's a one-legger. I turned it into a two-stepper. I asked certain questions. I got him excited. It was, ended up being radiant barrier. And I was able to get him to want to have his father be there. So I earned the right for that to happen. He called my office on Sunday night and said, John's still coming, right? When I got there, the father was there, and it was like a $50-something order. All because I didn't treat it like a one-legger. I treated it like a two-stepper. I earned the right to go back. I earned the right to ask for more time.
Believe it or not, I studied 19th century French poetry.
La fille qui j'aimerais sera comme enfin, qui sait bon faire chaque matin.
You speak French.
See, I love that because, again, charm and disarm. What I also do for however many professionals you guys have, and I'm sure if you're here, you definitely have professionals. I like to get apps on my iPad. I like to get, whether it's CNN, Fox News, the Drudge Report, I'm up on sports, I'm up on who's winning on American Idol. I can have a conversation with anybody about anything. Okay? I'm up on I mean, again, thanks to Tony, my mind is full of somewhat superfluous information now, because whenever I'm in the car, I'm just reading stuff. So now when I have a conversation with a homeowner, I have rapport immediately. You know, you read that book? You saw that movie? Oh, don't you think she's terrible? I can't believe she won. Those are all little secrets to disarm your client, so that, again, we don't look like that other guy. So I just thought Bill Murray was so charming in that clip. Now, stupid questions. There's an expression, there are no such thing as stupid questions, and that's true unless you ask a stupid question. And the stupid question at the door is, oh, what brings me out here? You know, and then the homeowner's like, well, you knocked on the door. What do you mean, what brings you out here? I told the guy, you're starting to bring back old feelings again. So I don't like to ask questions like that. Well, you know, I told the guy at the door I don't have any money. I've seen this happen. Yeah, but what if I give you a sweet deal? We got a sale money right now. You're so far away from what they're thinking at that point. You sound like that guy that was in the previous, the three salespeople. So what I like to do is I like to do a needs analysis, a very thorough needs analysis. Now again, I want you guys to remember this. There's only one way to get somebody to do what you want them to do. That's to make them want to do it. Okay? I ran an appointment 2 days ago with my son where we went in the house, and what was the first thing they said? We told your boss on the phone that we're not gonna. I heard that. I love hearing that. I'm like, I was under the impression that we were just giving you information for the if and when, right? I mean, is that what? Oh, so we sit down, we start talking. Okay? So my question becomes, how'd you hear about us? Oh, well, somebody called me from your office. I guess you were doing a job in the neighborhood. Oh, okay. What about that conversation made you decide to learn more about this product? Well, I mean, you said that it would save you money on my energy cost. Oh, okay. So saving money and energy, that's important. Well, yeah, okay. What do you use to heat and cool? I mean, are you using oil and gas, or electricity rather? Gas and electricity? I'm using oil. Wow. What are you guys spending roughly? Oh, I'm spending about X thousand dollars or whatever. The point is they are telling me what's wrong, but in reality, they're telling themselves, disguised by telling me. Okay? Have you ever seen a replacement window before? Well, yeah, somebody showed me. What did you like about it? Well, I like the fact that it tilted for cleaning. Why is that? Well, because I've got 30 windows in this house. It's very difficult to keep them clean. Oh, okay. So when was the last time you cleaned them, actually? I mean, those are the types of questions you want to ask in your needs analysis, because that's going to get a homeowner interested in what you have to say at that point, okay? So it's not an interrogation. It's simply a needs analysis to find out what their hot buttons are. The more you know about them, the easier time we're going to have making these conversions into sales later on. Okay? But in order for that to take place, you have to have patience. That's my favorite word. That's my favorite word in anything. Canvassing, running a business, selling. If you don't have patience, if you rush, I don't care how hungry you are, if you take the cake out of the oven before it had a chance to cook, you're going to be eating batter with a straw. You've got to be patient, right? Now, once I've taken the time to find out what's wrong, once I know what they like, what they don't like, I have a good understanding. Now I'm going to go and do I'm going to create urgency through measuring and inspecting. Now I don't just measure and inspect, period. What I like to do is personalize everything I do. Now you told me in the needs analysis that your house was really hot in the summertime and that it was really cold in the winter. You remember that? Yeah. Well, now that we're in the attic, or if I take a picture, if it's radiant barrier, okay? According to the Department of Energy in the Northeast, they want you R38 to R60. Here's a picture of what you have right now. I mean, do you see? I mean, you only have R6, or it's actually not even on the measuring stick. Oh my God, do you see why you're having those issues? Do you see why? Oh my God, kind of, or they get off of here. I told you, honey, I knew this. He was just waiting for. No, that's so awesome to hear when you're going through what the problems are. The other day we had one where the customer said that it's drafty by the window. Oh, by the kitchen window. So we go over to the window. It's a wood window. There's a gap that you can fit a credit card. I know a lot of people go, oh my God, look at this. That's old-fashioned. I want to tie it to what they told me earlier. Do you remember when you told me that these windows were drafty by the kitchen? Well, let me show you something. contraction and expansion with a wood window. In the hot summer, it gets expanding, and in the cold winter, it contracts, leaving these gaps, and that's why that's come. Oh my, so the point I want to ask you guys here is, if they tell you what's wrong, and then you do a needs analysis with them to show them why it's wrong, my question to you at this point is, how interested are they now in finding out what the solution is? Very. Thank you. All right. Now, during the process, this oftentimes I find that as homeowners, we're making all kinds of repairs. We're always putting scotch tape and bubble gum to put off the inevitable. Why? Because it's easier to digest wasting our money, let's say, 50 bucks at a time, 500 bucks at a time, than it is to just go out and get a new car already. Than it is to just go out and replace the windows. You know you got to do it. So one of the things that I'm going to do, again, during the inspection, is homeowners sometimes have a laundry list of things to do before they can do anything. Well, oftentimes, when they have a wood problem, say you have a woodpecker problem, you go to a house for siding and there's holes in the siding. So I went to visit a homeowner once. Oh, I thought you did wood. Well, what makes you want to look into wood, out of curiosity? Well, I got this woodpecker damage and whatever. Again, how many years has it been? How often have you replaced it? How much roughly have you spent to do that? The bottom line is that when they treat all those issues, oftentimes they're treating the symptoms, not the source. Sometimes they know, sometimes they don't. But you know what? I find oftentimes they just don't know. People don't know what they don't know, right? So with that, homeowners don't understand. It's the swine flu, it's not the sniffles. Okay, if you have a cold, you have a runny nose, you buy an endless supply of Kleenex, or do you find out what's wrong? Whether you visit a doctor or you happen to know, and you go get a Mucinex, or you go get something to clear what's ailing you. Okay, what homeowners have to understand when you're doing your needs analysis is that all the repairs and money that they're wasting, they're just buying an endless supply of Kleenex. They're not solving the problem, which in the long run is so much less expensive. Okay? Now, one of the things that I like to preach comes from Dr. Stephen Covey. If your prospect is confident in your diagnosis, when I took that customer to the window and showed them why they were having problems, when I took them to the attic to show them why their house was so hot and so cold and had icicle problems, do you think they have confidence in my diagnosis? I mean, this is the problem that you're dealing with. Now, if they're confident in my diagnosis, they're going to be confident in my prescription. One of the things that we don't want to do when we're doing these presentations is feature them. I was in a house once where a homeowner said to me, you know, I hope you're not going to spend an hour and a half on a heat lamp demo. Well, what makes you say that? Well, I told the other guy I burn wood, I only use pellets, I spend about 500 bucks, and he just went on and on about saving me 40%. That's a feature demo. Okay? We have to, if they're confident in your diagnosis, they will be confident in your prescription. And that's why we have to take our time.
I bet you folks don't have one of these.
Isn't that cool? I love that. That boat is your window, it's your siding, it's your radiant barrier, it's your bathroom, it's whatever you have that's going to solve their problems. Now here's my point. How much does she want what he's selling? How much does she want what he's selling? How hard is it to sell something if they want it? How do you know they want it? Because they told you what was wrong. Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. Now, here's one other piece of advice I'd like to give for your sales reps when you're doing your demo. For example, if you're doing a hot box with a radiant barrier or a window, you don't just show them the hot box and they say, holy cow, that's freaking great, how'd you do that? You say, now early on in the needs analysis, you told me that you were paying a lot of money in your energy costs, right? Yeah. Do you see how if I put this technology in your attic, do you see how if I put this latest window technology in your windows, that it would actually bring those energy costs down? Do you see that? What other answer is there but I do? So at this stage of the game, they want the product. I want that. That's what's important. Okay? Now, sequence of events is something that you want to introduce as well. I did a little bit earlier, where you want to show them that the longer they wait, the more issues. For example, a roof. Okay, I had a customer for a roof. She had a 40-year-old roof. Today's technology, the roof is 30-year technology. So when I asked her about the roof, I said, well, yours is older than that. Do you see the stains and the curling shingles? She says, yeah. Now here's the thing. I know why you don't want to do a roof. It's not the sexiest thing to do. You're not going to brag about that roof at your next picnic. But if you don't get that roof done and the shingles crack, it leads to leaking. From leaking, it leads to new plywood. From that, you could damage the ceiling, you could damage the walls. I have all those problems. So the point is that's a sequence of events. This is what's going to happen the longer you wait. Now, can I ask you a question? You can pay less for a roof or you can pay more for a roof. I'm not telling you what to do, but just keep that in mind. Okay, again, that helps them want to consider more seriously what you have to offer. Last part of this is basically social proof. You have your iPad, whatever you use to go in a home, have social proof. Go to the jobs. Have your canvassers go to jobs, which I'm sure Tony will talk about later. Take before and after pictures so that they can see homeowners that had similar problems that they had and look at the happy faces that they had as a result. Because if you do that, it virtually makes the I want to research your company disappear. Some people hit you with that with a canvas appointment. I want to research your company. It makes it virtually disappear. And if that doesn't work, this is a closeout.
Of course, I could get a hell of a good look at T-Bone's steak by sticking my head up and pull his ass, but I'd rather take a butcher's word for it.
Of course, that doesn't work very often, but you know. Now, at this stage of the game, I hope you guys would see, other than money, they told you what was wrong. You showed them why it was wrong. You gave them options that they couldn't wait to see to fix that problem. From a human nature standpoint, when's the best time to start saving money? You see this, but now, if your husband's, you don't want him climbing a ladder anymore. Better protection will prevent that from happening. When's the best time to stop climbing that ladder? If you have a bathroom that's full of mold and mildew, that you're sick of cleaning, and you have an acrylic product that's mold and mildew resistant because it's non-porous, when's the best time to stop breaking your back cleaning that bathroom? The answer is now, and they know it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to present my price options, okay? Because at this stage of the game, it should be just about the money. Once I present my price options, I'm going to basically ask them how they handle it. Now, when we're canvassing, the price is good for a year. At this stage of the game, I usually tell people that we give you 5% discount if you let us know within 30 days, because that's how I can start to bring that in a little bit closer. If the money is available in 30 days, the money is available now. So if you decided to do this in the next 30 days, how would you handle it? Because on a cash basis or on a finance basis, it would look like that. So, out of curiosity, if you decided to do this in the next 30 days, what's more likely to be the best option that doesn't take food off the table? Now, if your homeowner says, well, I could do $1,000 and $205 a month. Okay, so in other words, that $1,000, that's not, I know you mentioned before that you had college tuition or you're going on vacation. Hot dogs are like $50 each at Disney. That doesn't take that out of your budget. Or it doesn't? Okay. And you can swing the $205 a month? Terrific. Now, at this stage of the game, this is a faster version. On my website, we have available the longer, full-length version. But the point I want to make is, at this stage of the game, if they're confident in your diagnosis, they're confident in your prescription, you gave them a personalized presentation, you helped them realize what they didn't know, what was wrong with the home, and now they're telling you that at $1,000 and $205 a month, I can do that without ruining my vacation or having to worry about Sally's college tuition. So at this stage of the game, this is what I call an epiphany close. Right? It's an epiphany. At this point, your homeowner should have shown themselves that based on current circumstances, I can do it. And what a great feeling that is. A lot of the orders that I write, I don't go to if you buy tonight. A lot of them, not all of them, but a good portion of them are because they have an epiphany. They want the product. They can afford the product. I'm not that car salesman that they see in that picture. I took them by the hand. I was patient. I walked them through at their speed, at their level. I personalized it. Okay? So the close is simple. I mean, guys, you said you felt comfortable with our company, and price aside, you felt confident that Star Mark Windows would take care of your needs. Since it fits comfortably within your budget, I mean, would you like to get started? Right? There's no, I guess that takes care of that. I mean, there's none of that. You let them come to you. Right? Because that's how it starts. That's how the relationship started. Okay? Now, from there, obviously, again, we at our company have 3 closes at retail that we use because we are confident in the prices we put out. We're not gouging people. It's always the same price when it hits the table. I show them my pricing so they can see exactly where it's coming from, so they know I'm not pulling it out of air and one price for this one and one price for that one. So there's a trust building factor there. If I can't close it at retail for whatever reason, now we whip out the GPS. GPS basically, G, get a commitment. On our needs analysis, one of the last questions I ask is, if there was an opportunity to save some additional money by starting the process sooner rather than later, I'm I'm guessing you'd at least want to know about it, right? Everybody says, oh yeah, of course I want to know about it. So then I bring that back up. You guys mentioned early on that if there was a way to save money without starting the process late, you want to know, right? Yeah, okay. So that's my commitment. Then I present the program. Whatever your program is, whether it's related to canvassing, the show, time management, whatever clothes that you guys use. And then from there you show them the savings, right? So you get your commitment, you show them the savings plan, you show them the discount, obviously, for your limited time offer. Here's my point, guys. If they want it, and you all but had it closed, if not had it closed at the first price, because obviously we didn't touch the whole price conditioning issue, but my point is, if they want it, and you almost got it at retail, sometimes you just need a little push to move forward. 5%, you know, or whatever you have to do. But this is how the system works.